Hi everyone, I'm Rico Link from EasyStack. Some of you may know me as a individual board director for the Open Infrastructure Foundation, and some of you know me as a technical committee member for OpenStack. So today I'm going to present as a senior software engineer at EasyStack to show you how the EasyStack path from 0 to 1. So in order to explain what is from 0 to 1, let me explain what is 1. All right. So 1 is something that is already there. There is achievements that you can multiply, that you can use, and you can use it further for anybody to share. So that will become, if more people share, they will become many. So that will be one-to-many paths. But from 0, that means you have nothing at the beginning. You actually have to invent the math. You actually have to do things at the beginning. So that actually means that you need like a new mindset to do things. You need to do like a brand new stuff for that you can get your 1. So today we'll be sharing about that path. But EasyStack doesn't start with nothing, right? Start with the support. We start by using the community. We love the community so much. So we actually start from one-to-many. It's actually, we replicate a lot of things from the communities. We're using a lot of community resources. We learn from the community culture. So we have our own inner garage system to do a very serious code review, exactly like in the OpenStack community. We have our own CI/CD systems, which we learned and from the Zuo services by the OpenStack communities, which Zuo is also an OpenInfra project as well. So we learned everything there, and we're trying to do our own CI/CDs. So now we have like daily or weekly build deployments, and we have all the testing running on top, and we can do deployments and our development on top as well again. So that will be all from the communities at the beginning. And we also, from the communities, we also learn from the user story, like who is failings and what is success. But that all things from the communities, because EasyStack is a very young, very active company. So what we do is we're trying to be more open about it. We're trying to shape our cultures to more adapting for this kind of open source communities, because we knew at long ways that in past, in the future, EasyStack would definitely always need open source, and we definitely build something on top of open source. So we learn from a lot of communities, the Linux communities, the Kubernetes communities, the Ceph communities, and of course the OpenStack and Zuo communities. So I want to share this quote with everybody. Like, there's a quote in Zuo, say, start merging broken code. Now, that actually means a very serious promise about you should actually take action to review and test it well, and using the correct process, using the correct flow for your CI/CD, so you don't break codes in any status, in any chances. Like, that is the only way you can guarantee you have higher qualities in your downstreams, and which you can guarantee that can be released. So every part of the CI/CDs, the automatic deployments, and the generate packages, the testing, nothing should be skipped. Everything should be there. So that will be the only way you can maintain. And that is actually what we believe as well. So I would like to see the contribution to the OpenStack and to the other communities as a way that we eventually getting something back. As I tell you that we start from one-to-many. We start by learning the communities. We start getting things from the communities. We actually need that to keep going, right? We always need something from the communities, and we always wish to provide something back to the communities, because again, that will eventually be part of our product, be part of the services. So it's like perpetual machines, which is an engine that running forever and never die. So that is a very good way, I think, as a entire open source environment to grow, and EasyStack might be take action and part of it. So in terms of contributions, we do contribution in a lot of ways. Like, we have two board directors in the OpenInfra Foundation, and myself is inside the OpenStack technical committee. So we kind of like do things at the government and trying to help with the technical and government or foundation decisions. So make sure that everything can be go with the path that provide benefits to the community, to us, and to the users. So we also have this. So in recent year that we have product for 64. So we actually have people into the communities and myself into the multi-arch SIG as well to see how we can do to build upstream environment so we can have a better 64 guarantees. Now, the best guarantees always come from the upstream. It always comes from the community first. So we have nowadays, if you go into the OpenStack community, you will see is there's a lot of unit tests for most of the major core projects for OpenStack. You will see there will be automatic delivered for and build and deliver for Python packages on top of ON64, and there will be more. It's just on the way that we wish to see like how can we do something better and how as a community or say as a EasyStack as a vendor, how can we keep helping to make sure that the pool's getting better, the environment getting healthier. And we also have helping on the implement the features as well. Like if you go to the OpenStack orchestration services, now orchestration services now can do multi-cloud support. That means you can orchestrate across multiple OpenStack clouds with only the network connection in between. And that is very awesome stuff. And we also like fixing the bugs and fixing the gate. So here's one story that we have like fixing a neutron bug. And that neutron bug is inside our downstream, and we proposed that to the community as well, and it got merged. And after that, we actually broke the community gateway. Now, and then we have to go to fix it, right? But we found out that actually something we can fix it on the upstream. We definitely need to fix on our downstreams because that is also a huge issue as well when you're talking about the breaking gate. So we fix it in our downstream, and it's way before we think about release. What we do, we're thinking about to provide that, deliver that to our customers. So it's actually a very win-win situation if you think about the contribution. We contribute back, and you get a chance to review our service again as well, to review our downstream coding as well. So it's very good stuff, and we have like more than one times of this kind of experience, and that is exactly why, as a culture, that we believe in contribute first. The final you have to do is once you contribute, you must feel good about it because you have the community, you have the culture, you help with open source. Now inside of OpenStack, there's a lot of the same difference, but inside of this kind of all the changes we adopt from the communities, and not just in OpenStack, we adopt a lot of things, the cultures from the Kubernetes communities everywhere that actually not easy. Like if you think about to reshape your inner culture, to reshape the entire CI/CD systems and how people do code reviews, it's not a one-step job. So we have this model, say it is right there. So we have to climb that mountain. It's so high. We know it's there. We don't know if we can actually make it on time, but we definitely need to fighting for it. We need to plan it. We need to fight it. We need to climb that mountain. So that is in a model in EasyStack, and I would like to share with you guys. So to think about what is the mountain, you actually have to think about what is cloud computing, right? Because we want to climb the mountain, we want to know what is the best, what is on top. And to think about the cloud computing, if you check on the Cambridge Dictionary about cloud computing, actually the definition is very old. And because cloud computing is accelerates so fast, right? Because we have a lot of new terms. Like back in 2008, like it's, oh my God, it's clouds. And then finally there's is a cloud virtualization, is a cloud free, is a clouds. And I even have a lot of discussions during the way. Like now is like they start to getting like to have more like learning begin from the public learning private clouds. And now it's more like start to do things because we have a lot of cloud providers already running for years, and we go to business. Then there's a standardized And on the way that it's not just infrastructure, it's not just infrastructure with the virtualization or bare metals, there's a container in the way. So we actually have to adopt that as well. So, and now is like for, if nowadays you ask, it's more like, can I have a private cloud? Is that like public cloud like experience? So the cloud definition, the mountains, the top is always changing from times, and it will keep changing. Now, this is actually a very good model. I would like to explain about like what is from 0 to 1, what is from 1 to many, like what is Rico is talking about here, right? So from 1 to many means this path, this green path, that something is there, something's achieved. Not just in code, not just services, maybe a community product, maybe marketing, and maybe something just released in open source. So it actually is something that people can start using, can start to replicate, can start to go forward to marketing, can start using that keywords. And it will be something that more people replicate, and there will be more people to use it. Then suddenly in the market or in where you're using it, you start to become one of the many. So that's actually a good thing, right? Because people start to think, yeah, the way you're using it or the way that we all using it is a very good smart strategy. So like people all went to late place. That goes with everything. Like if we talk about like how to do cloud marketing, about how to do a design for architecture, that always happens. But what also happens is that more users start to think about something new and new technology showing up, and there's always issues there that people have to resolve. And if you are many, that means you are actually no more. That you are one of it. You are not like very brilliant if you didn't become the biggest fish in the pool. So that comes along with the path that we actually need to do is to go from 0 to 1. And from 0 to 1 means we have to start doing things differently, or say we have to target the user needs. We have to keep thinking about the user and how they're using it. Like we have to conquer with the issues that user might be provides like years ago, and people might be asking like just now, and people might be asking about why there's not a thing there yet. And on the path that we have to prepare, we have to do the deployments, we have to do the surveys, we have to make sure it is the correct path. So that is actually somewhere that we, as an EasyStack, we only got like 300 to 400 employees, but like 200 more of them are engineers. And we as engineers, and we have marketing guys, that we all together as a large team in EasyStack, we're trying to climb the mountain. And that's very hard. Like even there's one experience we have is there's one or 2 years ago that we have to face that there's a new generations of architecture is coming out. There's a lot of different things like Kubernetes inside the pools and containers and virtualizations as well. Like we have to rethink about entire architecture. So we actually took steps to break down our current architecture at the time and to reshape it all over again by a lot of hard work of engineering and coding and user experience analysis. So it actually took us a lot of time to climb the next mountains, because the mountain is not you stay from point A to B. You actually going from point A, you have to go down, and then you can reach to the B point. So that is exactly happens from 0 to 1 and from 1 to many, and that's happening a lot of time for EasyStack. So we actually do that a lot, and it's always hard, but always worth it. So I guess today's I'm going to share about is the from 0 to 1 path, right? So from 0 to 1, you have to know first that cloud is not a fantasy, right? It built from drops. Now, when I say build from drops, please don't put a water drop to your server. It will never work. Believe me, don't do it. So instead of thinking about cloud as a very large thing, you're thinking about as a very small thing, right? You build from one step to another step at a time. You build from, for us, we build from the very earlier versions of, we just have ECS, which is OpenStack, and other sorts of combined, and ECS stack, that is OpenStack plus on top of a promised hardware that from our provider. and partner. So we build from infrastructure as a service only. And on the way that we have to make sure that the user is more happy about what they have, right? So we start to build around like you have to have application marketings because when people are using the infrastructure, they need to have guidelines. They need to know like what they can do on top, and they need to not doing things all over again. They need to have some resources to reuse, and they need to optimize the so-called OpenStack, original OpenStack platforms. So that has to happen as the next mountain. So that we actually have a lot of things to do. We have to tune in the performance. We have to do a lot of optimizations, make sure the architecture matters, and trying to build an application centric. And also they try to build a better dashboards so we can use the entire structure, and my user can use the entire structure better, and not just thinking about it just a single like services for operation. It actually a large cloud infrastructure for users. And next step we have is the lifecycle management for cloud native apps. The cloud native apps comes along, and so we integrate that as the next mountains, but we also reshape a lot of things so we can have a single monitoring tools layers together, and we have a loads together. Actually, we use a lot of services because those services are long running, and because those services actually make use and make sense to use together. Right? Like if you're a user, you don't want to go to one place for check out some of the softwares and go to the other place to check on the other software and go to other place go to check on the hardware. So you want to see then and that will be the next mountain as well to actually forward to industry needs, enterprise needs, more specifically. Like if they want the hybrid clouds, then there will be that is something we achieved in the past as a mountain, we say. And there will be like a plus with the application marketings, and there's a lot of advanced services built, like high availables and other stuff. And there's also like a better maybe a better scalings, maybe a better networking shape. And there's also like even advanced of the targeting some of the specific marketings, like what they need is a speed or is a no downtime upgrade. So those are the needs that as the next mountain. So we actually climb from mountains to mountains, and they're actually a lot, right? It's not like one day that we figure out we can do things and we know where the next mountains are. We fight on the way. We fight during the fight, right? We fight at the point that we have to rethink about, are we doing this? Oh, are we should do things differently? There is no like straightforward at the mountain at a certain point. There's some decisions we have to make. There are some decisions we have to draw back to make sure that we have enough energy and resource to go to the next step. So all the things is really matter. The climbing mountain is not for fun, but it's worth it because at the end that we actually build something together. The mountain getting higher, so us EasyStack getting better. So on the way that we cancel out with this kind of a digital native architecture. Now this digital architecture is really huge, right? But remember, EasyStack is mostly focused on the infrastructure. So for us, these are the infrastructures. Like we have at the infrastructure service there, there's a generate for you as the public OpenStack and Kubernetes, some similars. And there's also something like DTOS protections. There's always upgrade audit logs. And there's always something on top of it, like how to do data virtualizations, how to do workflow management, how to do a data access and analysis, API gateways. So those are the things that build on, we need to think about and use it on top of our services. And then there's a total wrap-up layers, a management layers, is a manager for a multi-cloud, manager for user access management, a resource management. It's more like a dashboard, but it's a dashboard you can control from top to down. You can control from the software and to the from the services to software, and then at the end, at the buttons, you will go to your hardware, even your hard drives. So all that will be just one there. So why to think about this is you actually, the user do think is they need, as we believe, they need some kind of a digital native architecture. That means something they cares about is where they should put their data, right? They cares about where they should do with their current running services, where they should do with their VMs, where how can they migrate, and how can their services be moving, and how does this environment help them, and is it like running upgrade without downtimes, or we have to do downtime upgrade, right? Those are the things that is actually bothering user, and you have to talk it through those, and that's what we're going for. And a lot of services here is actually doing is over-the-air upgrade. So the user don't have to have the entire structure at once. You don't have to decide at once. So you just need to book for some of the services after you have our environments, and then it will be over the air to upgrade to your environment. So for us, it will make more sense. And we think for the users, it will make more sense as well, because no one knows what they want to do at the very first step, what they want to do for their clouds, and what they always want to do for their clouds, right? There's always the new things they have to integrate, and there's always new things we have to put on. There's always the next generation technology we have to put on our platforms. So that's why we have this kind of digital native. That's why we have this kind of over-the-air ideas to make sure that on the way we can doing upgrades. So like us, we can do upgrades with no downtimes and without issues. So that is the things we take ourselves to taking credit, and we take ourselves. That's our path from 0 to 1. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're doing to getting the customers' trust and getting the customers to feel better. I mean, they're feel better about their clouds, and they have a better cloud experience. So I want to share like 2 customer cases here. The first case is UnionPay. So the UnionPay, if you don't know, the UnionPay is the second largest payment card company in the world, actually just right next to Visa. So think about the very large companies with a lot of transactions of monies every day, like huge, enormous large numbers. And the UnionPay is actually a very good example for customers, because they've been our customers for a very early time, and they always on the way. We always have to think about how can we make sure those financial services can be more ready and more native in the cloud environment we provide. So we actually have a lot of meetings and have a lot of consent forward for UnionPay. We actually to think about how can we make the financial services better for them. So the UnionPay is indeed a customers that we build trust with, and we always have trust. They're still our customers, and we're still thinking about what we can do next to making service better. So to think about that will be the cases to build the customers and to have develop long-term relationship. And the second customers that I would like to introduce here is another experience shared. It's from customer to partner. And so CBN Cloud, I think a lot of you knew that CBN Cloud is a pioneer of cloud computing provider services in Indonesia. And CBN Cloud is a very good use cases, a very good customer cases I would like to mention, because they have touched OpenStack. They've been with OpenStack back to 2012. And on the way that they have developed the OpenStack, they have using other provider solutions. And they also they're trying to figure out how they can doing better with OpenStack, right? So they have doing a lot of research by themselves. And on the time that 2019, they go with EasyStack, and they go with our solutions after. And after 2019, the time that we start to build trust with this customer, the CBN Cloud. And because they have the long times of history with OpenStack, they are pretty good at OpenStack, and we have built very fast trust between the EasyStack and CBN Clouds. And after that, we become partners. So now at 2021, they even implement a second region to migrate other OpenStack environments to EasyStack platforms. And that is a very huge trust for us, right? It's something that reward us about what we're doing. Say, you guys are doing right. You guys are doing something we think we can trust on. So here I quote what they say. We want to grow our business with EasyStack product services support. The cost saving, the reliabilities, and the efficiency achieved is well proven. Now, the reliabilities they cares about is like, we have like 100% no downtimes during maintenance, upgrades, and expansions. So if you're interested about that, you can contact us. You can see actually we have demos in the summit as well to actually do the real life demos on one of our real environments inside of EasyStack to show you. And there's a dashboard there as well, so you can see how everything can be used. And the high availability and self-healing actually also matters because we do provide those services. Actually, we provide those services on the way we're fighting for fighting with CBN Clouds, and before that, we actually doing a lot of codings, and we provide that service because we have that large provider like Union Pays. The financial do cares about self-healing, so high availability. Even they really cares about the transaction, right? So that would be something that we're training with our customers on ways that before, and now we have those new generations, those later versions of EasyStack services actually already about that. And we also have Indonesian local technical support here, so you will feel like more comfortable about using EasyStack. And because that we are actually very trying to reach out to the communities here, and we're trying to reach out to the customers here, because what we're trying to do in Indonesia, we're trying to do it long terms. We're trying doing large. We're trying to have a better and a great trust relationship with customers like CBN Clouds. And there's always like efficiency, right? You care about efficiency. You also have existing hardwares. The cost saving is always the issues, right? And also efficiency about how long you can deploy. How about I tell you we can deploy like large scale of OpenStack and large scale of services in weeks. Like if you want the Kubernetes, you want to using a E6 version of those container management tools, and above we have those dashboards. There will be no problems. You can deploy it very fast. And we even like nowadays there is a pandemic, so we can have nowadays we have a lot of experience on how to deploy during the pandemic hour. That is like we have a few cases we don't even have an engineer go to their data centers, but we just all work is remotely, and we finish with all the deployments, the trainings, and a lot of things to our user. And of course there will be guidelines as well. So everything is here to help you to getting better and getting familiar with us. And there's also easy to use because I mentioned a lot, like we have a very great interface. So probably don't buy my words, just go check it out. The monitor tools is the dashboard is showing all the status of all the virtual and physical resources, like even down to your hardwires, even down to your hard drives. There's also a visualized orchestration, like you can drop and drop the orchestrations to create resources for clouds. And most importantly, you have the marketing place that you can reuse your app, that you can reuse your applications, right? You can build your own applications. And I think that's very important. But a lot of users have different ways. We also prepare a lot of rated applications in the application market, so you can use them without issues. So I think the important part is we actually doing a lot of things, not at once, right? We have first we observe from the communities from one to many, and then we grow ourselves from there. And then that's where we start to thinking about how can we be something better. So there's always the next mountain to fighting for. There's always the next mountain to do. And on the way, we contribute back to the community. We get feedbacks. We fix ourselves. And on the way, we contact with our users, see what they need, and we provide back to our next generations and the current generations of clouds. And we're trying to do things like make more sense to them. And we stay with the infrastructure so that we can help to handle a very better and very great services. Like you can have a cloud that is very handy, that is great user experience. So if you're interested in any of that, contact us, contact Androm, and learn more about what we can do to help you. So everything here is totally true. Now you have to figure by contact us so we can help you to learn like what you can do and what we can do to you, right? And what is exactly good about those experiences I will describe. So I'd like to thank everybody here. I'll be here like all day. So thank you.